Hey, what is up, everybody? I'm here to give you guys another Read Aloud series for a look back at the rich history of the WWE Championship, Chapter 23. And this chapter is called It's All About the Game. If you want to check out my Read Aloud series from Chapters 1 through 22, click on that playlist right up there, if I remember to put it there. But let me just get right into it. This chapter starts on page 189 and ends on page 198, so this is only 9 pages, so let me just get right into it. Stone Cold Steve Austin went on to regain the WWE Championship from Undertaker in June 1999, only to turn around and lose it to Mankind 2 months later. For Mankind, it was his third WWE Championship reign. It was his shortest reign, just one night after winning the gold. The deranged one would serve as the launching pad for one of the most historic championship careers of all time. As co-founder and eventual leader of Generation X, Triple H became one of the most popular superstars of the late 90s. But despite all the fanfare, the game knew that leading the rebellious faction could only get him so far. So in March 1999, he turned on DX to join forces with Mr. McMahon's corrupt corporation. Aligning himself with the boss caused Triple H to lose legions of fans. But to him, they were simply collateral damage in a war for championship status. Saints, X-Pac, and the New Age Outlaws, the game spent the next several months upward the card, vying for the WWE title. Each time, though, he fell just short of his ultimate goal. Sensing his August opportunity on Raw could be his last, Triple H began the stroke of the powerful corporation, concocted a foolproof plan that would eventually put the gold around his waist. After Mankind refused to put his newly won title on the line against the game, Shane McMahon used his power to demand the champ defend against Triple H on Raw. Furthermore, Shane appointed himself as this match's referee. With that, not only did the game get his chance at the gold, but he also became the odds-on favorite to win. As expected, Shane failed to call the action down the middle. He even went so far as to blatantly ignore pin attempts by Mankind. After several minutes of wildly shoddy officiating, Triple H finally put Mankind's one-day reign out of his misery after flattening the champ with a pedigree. The game's victory quenched a nearly 5-year thrust for WWE's Ultimate Prize. Since joining WWE in 1995, he experienced many professional ups and downs, including an excruciating stay in Vince McMahon's doghouse for breaking unwritten rules of conduct, which obviously he was punished because of the curtain call. Everybody knows what that is. I think it's talked about earlier on in this book. But he refused to give up, and on August 23, 1999, he finally captured the first of what would be a record-setting number of WWE championships. Obviously, the thing that it doesn't talk about in this book, and I'm going to talk about it now, originally, Triple H, because of his time in the doghouse, was actually supposed to have won the 1996 King of the Ring tournament, which obviously ended up being won by Stone Cold Steve Austin, because Triple H was in the doghouse, as they said. So he went on to win the 1997 King of the Ring tournament. Didn't get a championship match. I don't remember why. And then eventually, originally, he was actually supposed to beat Austin at SummerSlam for the WWE Championship. Well, WWF Championship at the time. However, Austin refused to put Triple H over for unknown reasons. I think Austin just didn't really want to put Triple H over. So that's why they did this whole thing where Mankind won the championship for one night, so that way they could get the championship on Triple H, because Austin refused to play ball, which kind of does show that if you're the top guy, they do tend to do a lot of politicking, because Austin knows he's done that. And here's a picture of Triple H holding the WWF Championship. But continuing. But with newfound success came a new obsession. Simply being the best in the industry wasn't enough for Triple H. He also wanted to prove that he was the most powerful man in all of WWE, even more powerful than the McMahons. To help demonstrate this supposed supremacy, he set out on a series of verbal attacks pointed at Vince and his wife, Linda. In the beginning, Vince let the game's bulbs roll off his back, but when the champ started making sexual and innuendos, I don't know how to say that, toward Linda, the protective husband had no choice but to fight. In retrospect, Triple H would admit that going after the boss was not the wisest idea, despite punishing McMahon for much of the match. The game was ultimately dethroned when Stone Cold interfered in dropping the champ with a stunner. From there, guest referee Shane, the man who had helped Triple H win the gold 3 weeks prior, made the historic 3 count and awarded the WWE Championship to his father. In an ironic twist, and obviously Vince McMahon winning the WWE Championship was really weird. This was kind of a weird time in 2000 when the WWE Championship was changing hands all the time. Actually, no, not in 2000. Sorry, this is 1999. You know, The Rock had it. You know, in January. You know, The Rock had it. Then Mankind had it. Then The Rock again. Then Mankind. It was switching back and forth between them. Then Austin won it. Then Taker won it. Then Austin won it back. Then Mankind won it for that one day, and then Triple H won it. I feel like Triple H probably, I heard he really wasn't getting over like the heel he was supposed to be, so they wanted to have him work with Vince as like a big baby face so people would feel bad for him, so yeah, that's what they did. Let's see. In an ironic twist, the game would later go on to marry the owner's daughter, Stephanie, making Triple H and Vince the only father-son-in-law combination to hold the WWE title, which that's kind of ironic. While embarrassing, the loss to McMahon did little to slow down the cerebral assassin. After the WWE owner wittily vacated the title on September 20th, 1999, Triple H quickly snatched it back up when he outlasted Big Show, the British Bulldog, The Rock, Kane, and Mankind in the six-pack challenge at Unforgiven later that month. Triple H was originally scheduled to defend his WWE Championship against Stone Cold and The Rock at the 1999 Survivor Series. Prior to the event, however, Austin was brutally run down in a vehicular assault outside the arena. The attack sidelined the Texas Rattlesnake for 9 months, but more immediately, it left a gaping hole in the upcoming triple threat match, a hole that would ultimately be filled by the enormous Big Show. Because in real life, Austin needed to go get neck surgery from a neck injury he had suffered in 1997 during an Intercontinental Championship match at SummerSlam against Owen. So the real life, Austin was getting neck surgery for that, so they had to write him off TV. Why did they promote a match if they knew Austin wasn't going to be there for it? I don't know. The last minute inclusion of Big Show certainly shocked Triple H and The Rock, who struggled to find a way to offset their opponent's massive size advantage. After several failed attempts to chop the Giant down individually, they eventually teamed up to send Big Show crashing through this table of the Spanish announcers, because they always go through the Spanish commentary table for some reason. But the attack only took the man out of the picture temporarily. He eventually worked his way back into the win, where he chokeslammed Triple H and pinned him to capture the title. The shocking victory gave Big Show the honor of being just the sixth man in history to win both the WWE and AWA/WCW championships. Buddy Rogers, Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, and Kevin Nash were the others. And this is Big Show as the WWF champion. To be honest, I don't know if that reign was a direct compliment to my skills in the ring as a leader or even as a good champion, admits Big Show today. I think it was just dumb luck. I was in the right place at the right time. I'm not trying to be humble, but when you look at the WWE champions of that era, you see Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Triple H. These guys deserve to be champions. With me, though, it was really just luck, which he's kind of not wrong there, I guess. Because if Austin hadn't got hurt, he would have been in that match. Whether he deserved it or not, Big Show was the top man, and he was quickly learning that being the WWE champion was far different than holding the WCW title. When he was representing the rival, he admits to never feeling stress or pressure. Instead, Show likened his time on the top of WCW to a fan getting to hang out with his favorite wrestlers. Despite never actually having to learn how to wrestle, he was able to roll with the likes of Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair. My bosses didn't demand my best, and they didn't give their best in return, recalls Show. That's the thing about Vince McMahon. He might be an asshole at times, but the one thing I respect is that he made me a better superstar in person. He goes out and gives 110%, and he expects the same from us. I know he gets angry about when people put him over, but I really respect him as a business person. A lot of the attitude I used to have, I totally changed after working with him for 10 years. Big Boss Man emerged as the first superstar to come gunning for Big Show's gold in December 1999. Their rivalry was filled with personal animosity. Big Boss Man crashed the funeral of Big Show's father, dragging the coffin around the cemetery from the back of his car, but because neither superstar was the card's best competitor, the Armageddon match failed to be given main event status. Instead, the honors went to Mr. McMahon and Triple H, which made sense because that match was a more personal feud than, well, was a feud that had been building up for a while, more than Big Boss Man and the Big Show, so it made sense for that match to main event. And yeah, but one thing I do remember is I definitely remember the Big Boss Man Big Show feud. I remember, you know, the stuff when Big Boss Man read the poem of Big Show's dad when he passed away, and it was probably when Big Boss Man was at his best, when he was in the Attitude Era, because he was able to be a great heel. He was always great before, but, you know, that's the thing. Champion or not, the best match is going to be the main event, says Show. Vince and Triple H was a very hot angle at the time, and Triple H could have a match with a broomstick and make it look good. I wouldn't really agree with that, but yeah. Wrestling Vince is like wrestling a muscled-up broomstick. As knowledgeable and creative as he is absolutely the most unathletic person I've ever seen in the ring. It's not Ron Nail. He's like a hand grenade in the back of a cement truck. Regardless, that was the match of the night, and it deserved to be the main event. Moments before the night's main event, Triple H made quick work of Boss Man, defeated him with a chokeslam after just 3 minutes. With the win, the oversized champion was able to carry the title into 2000. Unfortunately for him, however, he didn't get very far. Only 3 days in, he was picked off by Triple H on Raw. The hardest part of losing the championship is when you pack your bags the next couple of days and you feel like you're missing something, says Show. That's hard to get used to. The fact that it was Triple H made it a little easier. He's probably my oldest friend in the business. I actually started with him years ago, back in the WCW power plant. Triple H is one of the guys who gave me my chokeslam. A lot changed between Triple H's first and third WWE Championship victories. Not only had he reconciled with D-Generation X, but he also married Stephanie McMahon, which finally gave him the ultimate power he so deeply desired, during what became known as the McMahon-Helmsley era. Triple H and Stephanie recklessly ruled WWE, making questionable decisions at the expense of their fellow superstars. Their chief target was Mick Foley. Intoxicated by power, the couple inexplicably fired Foley in late 1999, only to rehire him back early the following year. The quizzical administration decision eventually led to a series of grueling championship matches between the two superstars, started with a street fight at the 2000 Royal Rumble. The dangerous street fight environment eventually favored Foley, who competed in the match under his legendary hardcore persona, Cactus Jack. As Cactus, Foley was able to slip into a psychotic state in which personal pain was considered a delicacy. It wasn't uncommon to see him battle on beds of nails, shards of glass, or even C4 explosive, all while displaying his famous toothless grin. Stephanie escorted Triple H to the win, but refused to stay for the carnage. Prior to the opening bell, she gave her husband a kiss before walking to the back. knowing full well that her man would never be the same again. Once the match started, the action proved to be even more intense than anticipated. Both superstars quickly moved past the traditional use of steel chairs and wind steps en route to a more vicious bag of tricks. The sold-out Madison Square Garden gas at the game slammed Cactus with a barbed wire covered 2x4. But the attack failed to stop the challenger, who had been victimized by similar objects countless times in the past. In fact, Cactus was able to grab the 2x4 and turn it around on Triple H. The brutality went on to include handcuffs on the announcer's table, among other items, but it was the smallest weapon of all that proved most effective. Late in the contest, Cactus pulled a bag of tiny thumbtacks from under the ring and scattered them all over the mat. He tried to drive the champ into piercing objects, but instead backflipped into them himself. Thousands of thumbtacks punctured Cactus' body. He slowly worked his way back to his feet, but was quickly greeted by 2 match-ending pedigrees on top of the tacks. Despite coming up short in the career alternate street fight, Cactus continued to be a thorn in Triple H's side after the Royal Rumble, leaving the champ no choice but to offer the persistent challenger a rematch. This time, the contest would take place inside Hell in a Cell. Furthermore, Foley's career was on the line. Amazingly, the Hell in a Cell brutality managed to surpass that of the street fight. Toward the end of the match, with both superstars standing atop the steel structure, Cactus nailed the game with a flattening 2x4 covered with barbed wire. He then went for a pile driver, but the champ had the move well scouted and backflipped the challenger inside instead. The force of the flip sent Cactus crashing through the cell roof as well as the ring below. Triple H added a pedigree for good measure before finally putting the finishing touches on Foley's career. But then Foley would go on to come back 6 weeks later, so the match was kind of a waste of time. In November 1998, The Rock used his alliance with Mr. McMahon to springboard himself to the WWE Championship. 15 months later, the Brahma Bull hoped that the same alliance would bring him to the promised land yet again. With the WWE boss in his corner, The Rock challenged Triple H for the gold at WrestleMania 20 in a fatal 4-way elimination match that also featured Big Show and a returning Foley. The Rock's chances of regaining the gold greatly increased following early exits by Big Show and Foley. But just when it looked like the People's Champ had the title within his reach, Mr. McMahon showed his true colors by whacking The Rock with a steel chair. The double cross helped Triple H pick up the win, making him only the 3rd WWE Champion to successfully retain his title over the course of WrestleMania's 16-year history. Hulk Hogan and Diesel were the others. By helping his son-in-law win at WrestleMania, Mr. McMahon was able to smooth his awfully rocky relationship with daughter Stephanie McMahon and son Shane. The only McMahon who wasn't wild about the betrayal was Linda, who sympathized with The Rock by putting Stone Cold in his corner for his upcoming Backlash title opportunity against Triple H. The authoritative decision helped offset the enormous numbers advantage of the game, who had both Stephanie and Mr. McMahon in his corner, as well as Shane serving as the special guest referee. Even with the rattlesnake in his corner, the odds appeared simply too unsurmountable for The Rock. Realizing this, Linda made a shrewd move late in the match that helped swing the momentum back in the challenger's favor. With Shane still feeling the effects of an earlier rock bottom, Linda walked to the ring with her own unbiased referee. The Rock then hit the champ with a spinebuster, followed by the People's Elbow, and went for the cover. Seeing the end of her son-in-law's dishonorable reign in sight, Linda demanded her ref to make the 3 count. The Rock's 4th WWE Championship reign was much like his previous 3 short. Less than 1 month in, he lost the title back to Triple H at a grueling 60-minute WWE Iron Man match at Judgment Day. Luckily for The Rock, he was able to regain the gold from the game just 1 month later at the King of the Ring. The victory capped off with a rivalry that saw The Rock and Triple H trade the title 3 times over the course of just 2 months. And here's some pictures of that rivalry. You have Triple H versus The Rock. I believe this is the match at Backlash. And then this is The Rock victory. And this is the victory for The Rock when he won at Backlash. And that's pretty much the end of the chapter. Something I didn't really go on to mention, maybe it will later on, was during Stone Cold Steve Austin's absence, The Rock became a huge superstar. Like I said, The Rock was, in the last video, The Rock was already a big star, but he wasn't like as big as Stone Cold Steve Austin was. But during the Stone Cold Steve Austin's absence, I think the WWF was worried about how they were going to do, especially too since they were still going up. They were still going up against WCW and the Monday Night Wars. They were worried without Austin, what were they going to do? But they still pulled it together. They built up Triple H as a big heel, and it allowed him to become a pretty big star. They always like to tell you though that Triple H was like a huge star. He was a top guy. He wasn't as huge as The Rock or Stone Cold Steve Austin, or maybe even Mick Foley, I would say. Definitely huger than Big Show though. So I definitely would say that. So he was a huge star. It allowed The Rock to become the huge star. He ended up winning the Royal Rumble, the 1999 Royal Rumble, which got him the title match at WrestleMania 16, which they like to call WrestleMania 2000, because it happened in 2000. So The Rock ended up winning the Royal Rumble. He became pretty much the face of the company while Stone Cold was gone, and it was great. And yeah, it led to the great Rock Triple H feud that a lot of people like, and it led to a lot of good things. But there's still more to come. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I pretty much said everything I wanted to say. Thank you guys for watching this video. Please make sure to subscribe to my CM Brothers and What the Talking Data channels, and make sure to subscribe to this channel for more content. And that's pretty much it, guys. Talk to you later.